but it looks sort of quite obvious to me. I mean, he got this puncture wound above his knee, and the vet came out to treat that and had a look around to see if there was something in it. He was quite lame. And she put him on antibiotics and bute. And then as soon as I took him off the bute, he couldn't walk. But it looked to me like, I'm not very good with lameness. I really am not very good. But it looked to me like he was lame on the other foot and the other leg. And yeah, so I think he's got laminitis. For a 2-year-old, that's pretty shocking, and that's not got a great prognosis. Yeah.
No. And remind me again, did you actually purchase him from this woman, or is he sort of on loan?
No, he is mine.
Oh. And so this is all a continuation of the thing that happened initially when he started limping?
I think so.
You thought maybe the other horses were...
Yeah, I think it's the same thing. I think that the farrier first saw him, like we've only had him for a couple of months, the farrier first saw him and said, he's got some laminitic changes. And I thought, really, 2-year-old horse? That's so unlikely, and poo-pooed it a bit. And then when he was lame a month or 6 weeks ago, I picked up his foot and noticed a very weird indentation in his sole and thought, that's not very good. And now it's much worse. And it's in both his front feet. Yeah.
And it's not like he's eating a lot of green grass.
We haven't got any green grass.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So what could he, is there a dietary thing that could be at play here? Have you been giving him like grain or?
I really doubt it. I'll speak to the vet about it, but I really doubt it. I think, if you have this level and this level of pain as a 2-year-old, the idea that he's ever going to make it as a competition horse is just ridiculous. You might be able to manage him farrier-wise and diet-wise and that sort of thing to keep him relatively pain-free. But if he's my only... I'm having 2 horses. I can't have one that sits in the paddock. Yeah. Anyway, Alison here's a vet. Have you got anything to say, Alison? She's on mute. Let's see if I can unmute you. No, I can't. It might be that Alison doesn't have any microphone on her computer. I'm not sure. But anyway, so there we are. So that was my yesterday. So we'll just take it one step at a time, see what the vet says, and go from there. I think it's most unlikely that the person that sold me the horse didn't know.
Yeah, I was going to say, okay, do you have some recourse back to her?
I did. I will certainly. I'll certainly try.
Oh, how disappointing.
Yeah. Sorry, Alison's having a bit of trouble with the phone. I'm just going to try and find Alison a phone number to ring in.
Okay.
So how are you, Jan?
Good.
Good. I like your arena lights. They're very smart.
They're nice, aren't they? Yeah.
Yeah, very good.
So are you riding at night now, Jan, when you weren't previously able to?
We've only had them in a couple of days. I think we got them in Sunday or something, or actually we finished them up right before Christmas. So I haven't done it yet, but I can go out and work at night now. And I'm a night person, so for me it's really great because I can, I'm not tired at 5 o'clock, but I am tired at 9 in the morning. So if I start training at 2, I can stay out later now. So that's good.
Great. Wonderful.
I'm trying to make sure the horses aren't scared of the lights both either in the daytime or at night. So that's what I'm working just on the ground right now. So I'm out there.
And are they showing signs of being afraid?
They haven't, but you know, sometimes just the variation in the light on the ground will create shadows and things. And so I just want to make sure they're used to it before I get on them. So
right.
I'm a big chicken, not like you, who can ride a horse running for home.
Yes. Well, I thought it was very interesting at Josh's meeting the other day when he said, the sport that we do is called riding, not sitting. Okay, right. You got to actually do something. You can't just, trying to stay on can't be the whole agenda.
Yeah, that's right. It's interesting though, isn't it? Because actually most people are just sitting. You know,
yeah.
It's that really good exercise where you draw a line in the sand in the arena and you get your rider to, have you ever done this with any of you? You ride it 3 times. The first time you ride it, so you draw like a line
your
in
nose in a certain place.
Yeah.
And
So your first time you ride it, you ride with the bit over the line, the left-hand side of the bit on the line, and the next time you ride it, you put the middle of the horse's neck on the line. Then the final time you ride it, you ride your belly button over the line. And it is amazing. It is such a good exercise because it just shows you that if you're actually riding the horse, not just sort of sitting on and steering, the difference and how much easier it is. So when you try and ride your belly button over the line, it's like really easy. And when you're trying to ride the nose on the line, you're continually correcting the horse and it's very difficult to do. And really most people do ride around on the nose of the horse and they point the nose in the direction they want it to go and they expect the legs to follow. And we all know they don't always do that. So if you start riding actually from your core and directing the horse from there, it is a much easier job. Yeah.
I rode Aries today, and lately he's been kind of wild. I don't know what it is, if it's the pigeons on the roof or what, but he's afraid of the far end of the arena and, you know, nervous and stuff like that, which he didn't used to be. I don't know if I made him that way or if I'm detraining him or what, but anyway.
I wonder if there's something changed. I mean, is it the cooler weather or is he getting less work than he was, or I don't know.
I don't know. Not so much less work, but I'm going to try to give him a little bit more work, see if I can work more with him.
If you have time to long rein him before you ride, then do long rein him up in that scary area. Yes, okay. So always make sure you take him up there, and long rein him up there, because that way, you know, he gets used to working in that area and being in your bubble, and then it's much less scary when you're on. So if you only ever ride up there, then that's a bit scary for him. The other thing I wouldn't do, which a lot of people do, because they feel that it gets the horse used to the environment, is turn him out loose in there.
No.
Because what they're likely to do then is scare themselves, and it just reinforces all that behavior. Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't done that. And the other thing I wanted to ask is, sometimes we said that they don't get a good release when they're on the long rein as good as we, you know, because just of the nature of the long rein. And I know they have those little clips on the end, the little brass clips. And I wondered if we put a lighter, like just the little ring type things that, you know, you can click with your finger and take off without, it's not a clip, it's just a much lighter piece of metal.
Yeah.
Would that be a better release than using those thumb type clips?
I mean, unless you've got the really big, heavy clips, I don't think the little ones make much difference. So I wouldn't fuss too much about that. But, you know, I also wouldn't worry too much at this stage about the not getting a good enough release. It's certainly not going to be about the weight of the clip unless you do have those really heavy ones. So I think that's fine. Just be really aware when you're long reining that you need to make sure he's getting a release. It's very easy just to hold that pressure in the long reins, and that's pretty much what happens quite often when they're being driven. So yeah, just be well aware that you need to give him a release, but I wouldn't fuss too much about it. I mean, unless your horse is really light, then it's really not going to matter. So, and he's fine, Aries, you know, he stays in a nice soft outline when you're riding, and you can ride him with a bit of contact, and he's quite happy with that as well. So I wouldn't fuss too much.
Okay.
Good.
Hello, can you hear me?
I can, my goodness, first time ever.
Yay.
I've done it through the phone because I had a son here who's more technologically advanced than me. I still can't get it through the computer. So please excuse me if I talk when I don't mean to talk. And you still can't see me, so that's good because I haven't done my hair.
We have. Good. Did you have a question, Alison?
Do I just keep it muted when I don't want to say anything? Is that the best thing?
Yeah, sure. But did you have a question?
No, not at the moment because I've just been too busy trying to get in.
Okay. All right. Think about it. Yeah.
I have many questions, of course, but anyway, they'll keep while I sort my thoughts out.
Okay. Sort your thoughts out and get back to me. All right.
Oh, no, where's it gone? Oh, my God. Oh, yeah, there. Oh, where'd I go?
Yeah, we can still hear you, Alison.
There she is. There, she's got it. So have you ridden Susan?
So I have a question. Yes, I've ridden Dee again today.
Good.
And the other day, and the horses are in the back paddock now, so I can ride in the front, and I have the barrel still up for the working equitation, but I also started to map out a little arena, except I did it in feet instead of meters, but so it's not very big, but when I was looking at the Thomas and Shanna Ritter thing, and they had this little exercise where you come along, shoulder in, and then you do a 10-meter circle, which is a volta. Before I was asking you, I said I thought they were saying volta or something, so they call a 10-meter circle a volta. And then they come out of that, what do you call it? Hip in or shoulder?
Yeah, Trevor.
With the hip in. So we did that. Today she was a little more wild than the other day, but I've just been really happy. Like it feels like she's, okay, we're just going to do this. And it's true, if you're not going in straight, like I used to think, why would you only ride for 15 minutes? But if you're doing something other than going just in a straight line, 15 minutes seems fine, or 20. I don't even know how long we're riding, but it's not very long.
Yeah.
And then she seems pretty happy about that. She seems ready to come back out the next day, which I haven't really been doing 2 days in a row, but anyway, the next time. Yeah. She never used to be when we'd go on those big long rides. So, but my question, so shoulder in and off, if I offset her head and she doesn't bend at the neck, she kind of comes in at the shoulder.
Yeah.
Is that shoulder in?
Yeah.
Is that shoulder in?
You want 3 tracks. So let me just get the whiteboard up for you.
Oh yeah, those 3 track things. You know, I'm not sophisticated enough to understand what that means underneath me. I understand what it means in the picture.
Yeah.
But I couldn't tell whether we were doing that or not. Like I have no signal. So, there would be no signal.
Okay, so let's say this is the side of the arena.
Yeah.
Draw like this. Okay, and so
it looks about like that. Yeah.
Yeah, about that shape. Okay, so you're going to come around here with your horse, and then that would be going straight down the long side, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, straight up there. Okay, so what you're going to do is just continue on that circle for a step so that her left front, sorry, is here, and her right front is here. And then her left hind is here, and her right hind is here. So she has 1, 2, 3 tracks. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense to see it,
Yeah.
but how would I know if we're doing it?
Well, it is quite hard to know if they're doing it unless you have someone else on the ground, but you can sort of tell because you'll be able to see this foot here is not on the track. And you'll also be able to look back and see that her hindquarters are on the track. So her hindquarters haven't changed at all. That's where she would be if you were just riding straight down the long side. So all you've done is you've taken that first step of a 10-meter circle off. You've taken that first step and you've ridden that straight. Yeah. And so haunches in, then when you get to the end of that and you come off the track and you do another 10-meter circle, so you come around like this, then you come back in, haunches in starts here. You get the same thing. So at the front, you're going to have both her feet at the front are going to be in the track, but her hindquarters are going to be in, like that last step of a 10-meter circle. So here you've got 1, 2, 3 tracks. So really think about it. Your 10-meter circle is very useful because shoulder in is the first stride of a 10-meter circle, ridden down the long side, and haunches in is the last stride of a 10-meter circle, ridden down the long side. And that's why they do it coming out of or into the circle, because it's much easier to do it like that.
Okay.
Okay.
So I have that in my head. I get that. But all I can seem to register is what I'm doing in the saddle. I can sort of, and where her head is or her hip. So if her head is offset and her shoulder is with her head, and she's going straight, am I likely to be doing shoulder in?
Yes, you are likely to be doing shoulder in. You will be able to tell though if you've got a fence line. It's much harder if you're doing it out in the middle of the arena out here. It's much harder to tell.
No, I have a fence line. I have a fence line.
Okay, so you have a fence line. So your horse's shape should be like that.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah?
It is. Yeah,
Good.
it is. All right. And then conversely, on the haunches in,
Yeah.
she's like that, right?
Yeah, so you can see, you'll be able to see the haunches in is somehow easier to see, because you know you can look back and you can see a hindquarter is not on the same track as her shoulders. Yeah, so that is
yeah. Well, I might be doing it then.
Well,
that
sure
would be incredible.
And it's really,
and haunches in is called travers.
Yeah, travers is the other word for it. Yeah.
Okay. Very cool.
Yeah, no, very cool.
I'm
Good on you. Good.
Sometimes when I try to get her to do shoulder in, she comes way off the line, like the fence is here.
Okay, and she goes
comes
away
over here, and I can't get her to go.
Yeah. So shoulder in, really, with your reins with shoulder in, your left rein, if you're going down, you know, if you're doing it to the left, let's say, So your left rein actually is in reverse arc. So it's got her bent, but it's getting her to travel up straight. So if she's coming off the track, then you haven't got enough reverse arc. Because you can't pick up the right rein and move her back. So when you start it, you're better off actually moving your hand so that your hands, as always, are above the feet, yeah, where you want the feet. So if you're going to ride shoulder in down the long side to the left, your right hand should be out away from her neck on the track so that her right foot can be on the track.
Okay, slow down. Hang on a sec, Kate. Okay, so I'm trying to think. Okay, so you mean that her right shoulder is on the fence line?
Her right shoulder's on the track.
Is that the fence line? Is that
Yeah,
the
yeah,
long,
sorry, yeah,
like the,
yeah.
okay.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm going the other way, shoulder in, okay. And now say what you were saying about.
And then your
what do I
left
want to be
rein,
doing?
your left rein is in
Oh,
reverse arc. So your left rein is putting a left bend in her neck, but it's also
Out here.
keeping her left foot moving forward, not to the left. They're moving straight up the long side.
My left, this is my left. Okay, my left rein is coming out here. And how is it keeping her going forward?
Left rein is on the neck.
Oh, my left rein is on the neck. So that
she's bent, but she's traveling straight and not turning left. Because if she's coming off the track, she's turning left. So you're not using that reverse arc. The reverse arc can make her go straight rather than turning left. Yeah?
Okay, I think so. Yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you.
Okay. So with your haunches in, the left rein holds the shoulder in the track. Yeah, left rein holds the shoulder in the track, and the right rein engages the left hind quarter. So you lift the right rein, and it moves the hind quarter to the right.
Okay. Now I was probably using a bit of leg.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that
to push it a bit.
Okay. Yeah. Same sort of principle, but if you do teach her the hind quarter control properly from the rein, you'll end up with a much nicer picture at the end. And especially with a horse like Dee, who's a little bit sensitive and doesn't much like leg, to teach all this stuff off the rein, it's going to make her much easier to ride. And, you know, you said earlier about the only riding for 15 minutes. A lot of that also is us, you know, being able to concentrate for 15 minutes. What I would do if I were you is go and really look at the hind quarter control videos and teach this stuff to her. Because she's a smart horse. And when you do teach it like that, by teaching the hind quarter control before you actually start doing travers, where the hind quarter control module gets you to travers. That's what it teaches. So it's not until we get to the lateral work module where you put the hind quarter and the shoulders together and get half pass, and then on after that the flying changes. But by doing the hind quarter control off the rein like that, it is incredible. It gives you so much more control of the horse. And as we know, you know, every little thing we teach them is just enormous. I mean, it makes such a difference to the whole way the horse goes by just going out and doing something really systematically, saying, right, you know, I'm not going to skip straight to flying changes. I'm going to actually get control of each of these 4 feet off the rein so that I can put them anywhere I want. And, you know, we always sort of think, oh, I want to do the flying changes. And then it's great, but it's really unfair on the horse because a flying change is easy. I mean, a horse that's been less than a day old can do tempi changes, for goodness sake. You know, this is a really natural movement. We screw it up because we're not talking to the right foot. So a flying change, if you work your way through those modules, the flying change is simply a matter, if we're going, let's say we're riding around to the left and we want to do a flying change to the right, all we need to do is move the right hip right. That's all we need to do. So we need to move one foot in one direction. And if you can get that right hip to engage like that, get the right hip to move right when the horse is cantering left, the horse will do a flying change. And we can do that if you've taught hindquarter control off the reins, you can actually do that by simply moving a rein. And you have your leg there as reinforcement, but you don't need to. You see these people in these dressage tests doing this, swinging their legs like this and spurring the horse, and the tails are going. It's really not necessary. The change is a simple movement. It's just moving. It's engaging the new hind leg, and that's all it is. So it's moving the right hind leg to the right and forward under the horse. It's really simple. But do go and play with that, because you'll enjoy those hindquarter lessons.
Yes, I will. But I also need things to be able to do with her on her back.
Yeah, that is something to do with her on the back.
Once I get through those lessons. And anyway, I can't do a flying change because I'm not cantering, and I don't know that I will canter her in the snow.
Flying change, you might not need to, but the hindquarter control, you only start on the ground for a minute. You don't need to do more than a couple of minutes on the ground. And you just then pick up this rein, move your hindquarters, pick up this rein, move your hindquarters, and get on, do the same thing. Yeah, you don't have to be on the ground.
Okay. All right. Okay.
And it gives you something else to do. So if you do then go for a ride down the road, then you've got, oh, look, I can do shoulder work on the road, and now I can do hindquarter work on the road as well. Because all you want to be able to do is control each foot individually. So that's your aim, is to be able to control each foot individually. Say, I want to move the right hind to 3 o'clock. How do I do that? You need to be able to do that. Jan has a question. What is it, Jan?
For someone like me, where, let me take my hand out, who doesn't have good control of my hands, say when I'm posting and stuff like that, do you recommend teaching hindquarter control off the reins?
Absolutely.
At this point?
Absolutely.
All right.
I think the more you teach off the reins, Jan, the more control of your hands you'll get.
Okay.
Okay. Because I think one of the things at the moment for you is that you're very scientific about your approach, and so you think a bit too much about it. What happens when you actually relax and just start to teach the horse something, you forget all of that and you just start to teach the horse. And you might not, at the end of the day, you might not come out as the prettiest rider, or you might not come out as the classic dressage rider, but you'll be very effective. And I think that's the thing that you need to focus on, because at the moment it's very hard for you to relax enough to really engage with teaching Aries. And he's not, he doesn't have a solid enough foundation to just be practicing on. Do you know what I mean? I think you need to engage with him a bit more on that level of teaching him stuff. And don't worry if it's not exactly what you want him to know, but get in there and have a bit of a play with him like that. And don't worry about, teaching him something wrong or anything, because he's a nice, quiet horse, and he's happy.
He was.
He was. So, look, that's interesting. And there's no difference in your feeding or anything? Nothing else has changed?
I don't think so. I don't know. I'll check. I'll watch him.
Yeah, watch him, and do the long reining. But the thing is, especially if a horse isn't quiet, what you need is more stuff to do on its back. Because if it's not quiet and you want to ride large around the arena at walk, well, good luck. It's not a great plan. If a horse is not quiet and you get on and you say, right, okay, now I'm going to pick up the rein. I'm going to move your right shoulder to the right. Now I'm going to move your right shoulder to the left. Now let's talk to your hindquarters. You're giving him tons of stuff to do. And what that does is it starts to build your bubble. Yeah. And it starts to, that will calm him down. It's in the bubble that he can relax. When horses are anxious and their heads are up and they're flighty, they're not in your bubble. They're not engaged with you. They're not thinking about you. They're thinking about the pigeons on the roof. So what the first thing you need to do is actually engage him. Ring somewhere. First thing you do is need to engage him. So the more things you've got in your toolbox to get him to do, the better off you'll be. And you know, you don't have to come out of walk to do that. You can do all of that. You can do all of these exercises in walk. So I would say, yes, definitely be teaching him stuff and be really aware. Like, let's set out the cones or something in your arena and just have a idea of where you're going to ride to. I'm going to ride to here. I'm going to do this bit at a fast walk, this bit at a slow walk. I'm going to trot 10 strides here to here, and just have a real idea of what you're going to do and make it interesting. Keep changing it. Don't give him a chance. Like, he's not a genius. So you've got to give him quite a lot of rope to let him shy at something, right? But if you can keep him just a bit engaged, you're going to start building that bubble and get him to be thinking about you, not about anything else.
Okay.
Jan, I was wondering about your weather, because I know today mine were pretty wild, but it feels like spring in the air today. And so as soon as they start to think, then they're really having a good time tearing around. Is that going on at your place?
Well, sort of. It was 60 today, and then last week it was like below 30. And when it's cold, he's up, and when it's warm, he's up. So the other question I had is going back to what Kay was saying about being able to move your hand and have the horse put its foot underneath where you put your hand, like a puppet. If you're doing small movements, like if I want Aries to step over, I open my hand fairly wide if he doesn't move right away, etc. But I can get just step over. I'm not sure I could get step to 11 o'clock. I might get step to 3 o'clock, but not say to 2 o'clock. How would I tell him I wanted him to move to the right at 2 o'clock versus 3 o'clock?
That's just it's just a practice thing. So, that's a really good thing to work on, to go out with the intention of asking him to step to 2 o'clock, and when he gets that, release and reward on that and be really specific. And so what happens is you start by moving your hand enough so that his foot is under the hand, but then you refine that so he gets, exactly what you want. So your movements will get smaller. The training, you might look like a bit of a fruitcake, but that's okay because he's learning. And then the movements get smaller and smaller. But if you go out with a really specific idea of, 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock that you want him to step to, then you just wait till you get that. And that's a great exercise. That's really good because it's really engaging for the horse. Because he then really starts looking for answers. So, oh gosh, she doesn't want me to step to 1 o'clock. What does she want? Let me try again, and he'll try again and you'll get it right. And you go, yeah, that's it. And he'll start to think, oh, okay, this is fun.
And I can do that from the saddle, or do I do that on the ground?
No saddle. Do it from the saddle. He's way too tall to do too much from the ground.
Okay.
Alison has a question. Unmute yourself. Oh, there we are.
Yay. Sorry, I just wanted to clarify something there when you were talking to Susan about I know I keep on about flying changes, but there's a lot of, other exercises that, happen before that. I thought to engage, can you just go over the rein and the foot thing again? Because it is something when I'm riding, I get confused with. And I'm riding, say if I'm riding to the right and I want to make a change to the left or even prepare in trot or whatever, you know, just get the exercise right.
Okay.
I pick up, if I'm riding around to the right and then I'm going to change direction to the left and flexion and blah, 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 whatever else, I'm going to pick up on the
Okay.
left rein to move the hindquarters. No, see, I'm already confused.
Okay. Don't worry. We'll go through this. So, let me draw our beautiful arena again. Oh, look at that. I found the straight line. Okay.
Can you see this, Allison?
Yes, I can see this.
Okay. So there's our
good.
arena. Now, have you, Alison, you've done the hindquarter control work, yeah? So you can do travers.
Yeah, yes, that's up the long side, sort of haunches in, up the...
Yeah, haunches in. Yeah, you can do it.
Yeah.
Okay, that's great. Has she got any half pass?
Well, we do a lot of leg yielding.
Okay, leg yielding is good enough. Okay, so have you looked at the flying changes module?
Yes, I think it's the only one that's complete.
It's the only one. Right. So I want to put you back to that teardrop exercise.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're going to teach flying changes on both sides at the same time, right? So that we don't just get one side done. And this exercise is like way the best exercise I've ever known for flying changes. Okay, so you're going to ride down the long side to the left, haunches in, haunches in, haunches in, haunches in, all the way down here, haunches in. You're going to do a half 10-meter circle, and then you're going to leg yield or half pass back to the track. Okay, so the horse is leg yielding, half passing back to the track. When you get to the track, you want to do haunches in. So you do haunches in and you ride down again, down this way. Yeah, all the way, haunches in, and this time your right haunches will be in. Yeah. When you get up here, do a half 10-meter circle and then half pass or leg yield back to the track. As soon as you get to the track, I want you to pick up haunches in to the left here. So the haunches are going like that here. Yeah.
So that's on the right rein. You pick up on the right rein to get the haunches into the left.
Engage to get the haunches to go left. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your outside rein. Okay. So you continue this exercise. Do it at walk. But every time she comes back to the track, this cross here is your flying change. Because what happens is that you're moving her haunches from this side to this side. So you're moving her haunches that way.
Right.
So you can do it at walk. Yeah, you walk up, haunches in, half 10, leg yield, flying change. Get those haunches in. So what I do in walk is I also use my leg there as well. So not only do I pick up the outside rein to get the haunches in, I slide my leg back so she gets the feeling of that when she gets there. Then take that exercise to trot. Do the same thing in trot and then canter. Okay, so for the walk and trot, you don't, she doesn't have to do anything. She doesn't need to change the lead or anything, but you can still get that change of lead. You can still engage the new hindquarter. So when you come to do it at canter, she's got that pattern. It's all about learning the pattern. And she learns the pattern. She knows as soon as she gets back to the track, she engages the hindquarter. So she throws a hindquarter over when she gets back to the track. And if you've practiced this in walk and trot enough, she absolutely knows that pattern. And if you can get her hindquarter to engage like that, the shoulders will follow. The shoulders are easy. The hindquarter leads the change. So if the horse changes behind, it will change in front, unless it's really lame or something. Unless it's got a really physical problem, it will change in front. What you often see is horses only change in front, and because the rider hasn't talked to the hindquarter, they've just thrown the shoulder over. And that's the most common thing. So we don't even care about the shoulders. We only care about moving that hindquarter. So get that pattern going, that teardrop pattern. Every time she gets back to the track, straight away engage the hindquarter. And so when you come to ride this in canter, you come up here in canter and you do a canter half pass, and then she knows when you hit this point here, she has to send her hindquarter in. And if she doesn't, you've got your outside rein. You keep her in canter. You've got that outside rein. So you will be pulling her head towards the fence, and you will engage that hindquarter. She will engage the hindquarter. She will do the flying change. The advantage of this here is that you can keep her in canter, and you know, you're not going off madly somewhere. I mean, you know, it might take her a few strides if she doesn't change. Keep her in canter, moving her head in towards the fence, because if you move her head in towards the fence, her hindquarters come out.
So I think maybe I've been a bit exaggerated in my head movement, because we often seem to run into the fence. Would that be I'm using too much rein and you know,
When do you run into
get that
fence?
feeling?
When do you run into the fence?
Well, if I'm trying to put her haunches in, hindquarters in, then I'm using the outside rein at that turn when you come back to the fence.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So maybe you're just doing it a bit early.
All right. I don't know. And if they don't change, then do you keep them on a straight line, or you put them on a circle in the direction that you're
keep them in a straight line.
Right.
Keep them in a straight line. Keep running. So let's do this one here. Let's do this one here. You come down, you're cantering to the right, your right half pass, and then you slide your leg back and pick up the outside rein, lift the outside rein, and she engages her hindquarters, and you canter off in this direction. If she's, you know, putting her head towards the fence, then yes, probably you are using too much rein there if she's already doing that, because you really, maybe your haunches in isn't good enough yet. Do this exercise in walk and trot and see, because really, I mean, by the time you're ready to teach flying changes, you should be able to lift that outside rein. That's all the horse needs to feel, is that outside rein lifting on its neck to engage the hindquarters. If you're still having to move a head around to the right to get a hindquarters to move left, then you're not ready to be doing this, yeah? She's got to be much lighter than that. She's got to really understand that cue. So make sure that your haunches in is good enough to be doing this. So it should be perfect in walk and trot before you do this in canter, yeah?
Okay.
Yeah, so you can really see then, like if you trot down this bit here, and down here, you trot your half 10-meter circle to the right, you trot a half pass, you lift the rein, the new hindquarter engages, and then off you go at trot. If this is all going well at trot, then it should be fine at canter.
Okay.
But if it's not, if you're having to move her head to the right here to get a hindquarters to move left, then your hindquarter control isn't up to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's probably what it is.
That might be what it is. Good. Let us know.
Could I also ask if you ever got those videos, or I don't know if they ever came across, or if they're just too long and boring, or did you ever actually receive them in a format you could watch them?
No, I don't think so. Can you resend?
I don't know. I think it was when you were overseas, and I tried sending them, and then I said, "Oh, don't worry about it till you get back to Australia." But I don't know if they ever.
I'm going to write myself a note, and if I can't dig them out, then I'll get back to you. Yeah.
Oh well, I'll send other ones. I think I won't bother about that. Come on. Oh well. I was having a lot of issues with the going forward, and I've actually just changed my instructor on the ground, who I've had for as long as I've had Rose, so that's 7 years.
Yep.
And I think she was just getting a bit too dressage-y, like everything wanted to be nose in, and she'd be making me pull Rose's nose in when I didn't have. She could do it, but I couldn't get the forward movement with the nose in.
Right.
So, and then it was becoming sort of, I was just losing forward terribly.
Yeah. So it's becoming a bit forced. And
so I've just changed to another instructor, even though I feel very, very guilty. And we're just concentrating a bit more on forward, because she said, if you
Yeah,
go
good.
forward, I can get round easy. And she's not a horse that goes up. She's not a giraffe. She's never a giraffe, but you know, just not as much nose in. So so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. And Josh has been saying, there's a meeting with Josh in 15 minutes that he's been saying that.
How do I get to that too? Sorry, how do I get to that? I did manage last time. I won't speak, but so I can go back to my computer. But is it a direct link, or like is it on the Zoom thing? It did come up. I had a look, and is it on that Josh and?
Yeah, that's it. That's
okay.
it. Yeah,
right. Okay.
yeah, do come. But you know, he talks about that too. So he talks about guide. He does guide first, which is just get the horse to travel in the direction you want it to go. You know, get it relaxed and traveling forward in the direction you want it to go, and then he worries about everything else later.
Well, I have watched a few recent webinars, and I've been hearing, particularly Robin, I think, talking about the guide. And I thought it sounds very much on what I've had to do, just backtrack on the don't worry about the head quite so much and get it forward happening. Yeah.
And I think, you know, it's look, it's horses for courses a bit as well. Like Rose has a lot of education, you know, she's been ridden for a lot of years, and she's got, you know, probably some pretty bad habits as well. You've come a long way with her. She was very nervous. I remember seeing videos of her jumping, was it? Yeah, wow. You know, so you have all of that. So to take her back to guide, I mean, that's good. That's a good thing to do. So I think your instructor sounds like that might work really well. So well done for doing that, because I know it's not easy. But yeah, and then other horses, well, you know, you really want to get them into that engagement zone, into a nice soft frame, and be able to control their feet early on. And that's probably where Rose was 7 years ago. You know, that's probably more what she needed then, just to be safe.
Well, I had a lovely compliment from I went for a ride with one of our vet nurses who's very experienced and plays polo cross and does all of these, you know, brave or stupid stuff that I would never do. She's broken in several horses, and we went for a ride together, and we actually swapped because I was trying out this new stock saddle that, don't get me into, I have to go back and watch those webinars on saddle fitting. I've had a drama with my stock saddle. Anyway, we went for a ride, so we could both, she could have a look at it, and we swapped horses halfway through, and it's been a long time since she's ridden Rose, and she said, wow, she just seems so much more responsive and softer and flexible and all that sort of stuff. So that was really nice, because I really value Kim's opinion.
That's great. Really good. Yeah. Very nice. It's always good to see someone else riding your horse too.
Well, she was galloping up a hill in front of me, so I didn't get to see it that much.
Okay.
But she looked good.
Excellent.
Can I just ask a question about half pass or leg yield? Is that kind of really the same as haunches in, only on an angle?
No, because
along the long side.
It's haunches in and shoulder in being put together. So it's the whole horse moving sideways. The only
okay.
Yeah, so the whole horse moves sideways. The only difference between leg yield and half pass is the angle of the horse's head and neck, really. So you start by teaching leg yield, which makes a lot of sense if you think about how we teach moving the hindquarters off the rein. So if I'm leg yielding to the left, so the horse is traveling to the left, forward and to the left, then my right rein moves the hindquarters left. Yeah, so that might bend the horse's head to the right a bit.
I missed that.
Okay, if I'm doing leg yield to the left, so I'm going forward and left, my right rein moves the hindquarters left.
Okay.
Yeah. So when we first start teaching that, quite often we pick up the right rein and the horse moves its head right as well. But the right rein controls the left hindquarter. So in leg yield, your horse can be straight or it can be bent away from the direction of travel. Whereas when your horse, by the time your horse progresses to half pass, which is really what you want before your teach flying changes, simply because it shows you've got enough control of the feet that you don't have to move the head. So half pass, the horse is bent like a banana in the direction of travel. So you're not using the rein to move the head, which then moves the hindquarters. The horse is light enough and understands those cues well enough to feel a lift of the rein to move its hindquarters.
And is that in the hindquarter control module or in the flying changes module?
It's in the one in between, the lateral work module.
Oh yeah, okay. Okay, I got a ways to go yet.
Good.
Kate, is the Josh meeting under Kate and Josh or just under Josh?
What do you mean under?
I think I have 2 logins on Zoom, one for Kate and Josh meeting and one for Josh meeting.
I think it's probably the same. It's probably the same.
There's I think it's Josh and Jana or just Josh. And
Yeah.
that seems to be the same.
Yeah, it'll be the same destination. We've only got the 2. This is my meeting room. Josh has a meeting room. So yeah, anything will be, it'll be that, just that one destination. It's
Okay.
not a new room. Yeah.
How's your horse?
I don't know. Lame.
Okay.
Yeah. I think
Did he get in yet?
No, I didn't take him because I think he's got laminitis.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was taking him. I was thinking I was going to take him for an MRI, but there's for his knee, because they were worried that his knee, the infection from a puncture wound might have gone to his knee joint, but I'm absolutely sure it hasn't. I'm actually absolutely sure the horse has laminitis. So. Which, Alison, you're a vet. Can you turn your, 2-year-old with laminitis?
Look, I don't profess to be an equine specialist. I've seen a lot of dead ones, cut up a lot of ones, and done a lot of hooves with laminitis. But it's certainly unusual. But he hasn't been worked very hard.
No.
Has he been worked hard at all? Oh.
No, I don't. He may have done. He's a halter horse, so they did take him out for show as a youngster, as a yearling, I think. I don't know how much work they did with him. Anyway, I think that's what he's got. I don't think as a 2-year-old it has a very good prognosis. Do you?
Not if it. Well, look, I have a friend that had a young stock horse, not 2-year-old, but maybe 4 or 5. But she had done a lot of hard riding, like on trails and stuff with her. And I think, but even so, I was surprised she took him up to the uni, and that got diagnosed at the uni. And look, she's come good again. Obviously, whatever was acute enough to stop it from becoming chronic, and she did the right thing. And when she, got it diagnosed, but I haven't caught up all the story. I did catch, as I said, I've been watching some recent webinars, and I did hear. Did you come to Albion Park to get that horse, or did you have it send it up? Is this the one you got from Albion Park?
Yeah.
Yeah. You should have come and visited. It's only 3/4 an hour away.
No, I had them send it up.
Oh.
I didn't come. No, I should have come. I had to come.
Yes, and I did catch one. I heard you say initially you was lame, and you thought it might have been in the shoulder. And I have to say that 95% of lamenesses are knee and below. That's just a little vet aside thing.
It's just wishful thinking, I think.
But I think you should like, you've had a few vets look, or just one, or have you taken it to a referral place, or?
I've had one vet look, and my farrier, he told me originally that the horse had laminitic changes, and so I'm taking it to a vet on Monday. But I thought there's no point in MRIing it. There's nothing wrong with the joint. It's not that at all, and that's going to cost me $5,000, and they can only do a tiny joint. I mean, what's the point? You know, they said.
Have they X-rayed it? Have they
No,
X-rayed?
not yet. No, I'm getting it X-rayed on Monday.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, that's certainly. I would certainly say get it X-rayed, because usually you can see some, some change on the X-ray. But I wouldn't. It's not a good sign, but I wouldn't, discount it totally if you can do the right thing now. But I don't know whether you'd probably have to rest him for a while, and I don't know. As I say, look, I'm not a horse vet, only a dead horse vet, which you don't want. So.
No, not now. All right, okay. Well, that's good. Thank you. We better get gone because we're on to Josh's in a minute. So hopefully I'll see you all in there.
Okay. Bye, everybody.
Bye.